Fair use, taxes, LLCs, and FTCs, I get it. You want to concentrate on making good videos and not on all this legal drama. I'm lawyer for creators Brittany Rattel, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what you need to do to avoid making the 8 biggest legal mistakes that I see small and not so small channels making. Remember, I'm an attorney, not your attorney, and this is for informational purposes only and not official legal advice. If you have questions about how this applies to you, reach out to me or another licensed attorney so that you can get help. Let's jump into our 8 big mistakes. Number 1, building a brand or a channel on a name that you can't own. Think of it as building a house. You want to make sure as you're building your house and then investing in that house and upgrading the lighting and the walls and putting in nice furniture, you want to make sure that you own the land that that house is on. You want to make sure that this brand that you're creating and building is on digital real estate, intellectual property that you can own and monetize and license, including diversifying into other revenue streams like clothing, digital offers, physical products, events and experiences, all stuff that's going to have at a baseline that you own your brand. Make sure that as a channel name, you don't have anyone else's trademark in there. For example, I wouldn't recommend that you have Instagram Insights for a channel name. Why? Because Instagram owns their trademark. Make sure that your name is clear. It's not being used by someone else to sell something else, even if they're not on YouTube. If they're another business out there. Number 2, you aren't paying your taxes. This is something that a lot of creators and a lot of creatives just don't think about, and it sneaks up on them. I highly recommend the book Profit First by Michael Michalowicz. If you are a complete newbie with running a business, especially a creative business, at a bare minimum, I recommend setting aside 25 to 30% of all the income that you're generating for your taxes. And remember that if you are going to owe a tax bill of more than $1,000, then you really should be making quarterly payments. Number 3, you should form an LLC. An LLC is a limited liability company. I have a video about it, but a limited liability company sets up a boundary between your personal money and your business money. The reality is if you don't take this step, if you just start operating a channel and start getting monetized, there's no legal distinction between that money. And if something happens, if you get sued, that means all of your money is on the table, not just what you're making from this business, but all the money that you might have in your house, in your bank account, in your vehicles, in your retirement accounts, and what you might own with a spouse. Make sure you put up a fence or a boundary. You can do that really easily and cheaply through your state, through an LLC or a limited liability company. Number 4, use a privacy shield when setting up your business foundation. This means when you're setting up your email address for your YouTube account, please don't use your regular personal email address that everyone knows. It's probably easy to guess and really exposed. Make it something that it's harder for people to guess, and make sure you're using all the security protection, including 2-factor authentication. The harder it is to get in your account, the harder it is to get hacked. Also, make sure that when you set up that business, don't put your home address on your business filings. Business filings are public records. That means anyone can look them up. And you won't believe the amount of people who I'm sure would not want the public to know their home address, but put it on their business filings. In fact, I've known a couple close friends and creators who got pranked and doxxed this way, and they had people sending creepy deliveries to their house and even calling the SWAT team on them. Make sure you're putting up some virtual security and privacy shields. Make sure that your personal address and your personal details are not available for people to find and to dox you online. If you work out of your home, like a lot of us do, get a virtual business address, get a PO box, get a co-working space, and get a membership. Number 5, quit using other people's content. This one is hard because I know that a lot of us want to rely on fair use. And we've heard that if we only use a certain clip, or if we get permission, or if we say, hey, no infringement intended, or if we give credit, people should know that we're not a thief, we're not trying to steal someone's content, we're not trying to infringe, and we should be allowed to create. Fair use is tricky. It's only a legal defense, which means the only person that can tell you that, yep, you have fair use and you have not committed infringement is a judge with his or her robes sitting on a bench. Anyone else who tells you that you have fair use is just guessing. You can be safe if you just follow these things. Some people say if you just use less than 15 seconds, you'll be fine. Nope, that's not true. There's no limit to the amount of content you can use to be safe. If you put lots of pauses in between the content, like the music or a video, you'll be safe. Nope, that doesn't really do it either. If, again, you say no infringement intended or give credit and cite where you got it and who made the original content, nope, that doesn't cut it either. What if you are just critiquing it or giving commentary or doing a reaction video? It's still a gray area. It's still a risk. I just want to make sure that you know the underlying issue is that if you use someone else's content that you didn't create, you don't have the rights to that. It's on you to look out for you as a creator for number number one. There have been some case law, like Aquila versus Sargon had a 2-minute critique video, but the judge ultimately ruled that it was enough of a different transformative use and not derivative for it to be qualified under fair use. But you know who was the loser in that case? Probably be both parties, because they had to waste a lot of time and money on bringing that suit. If that's the core content of what you're doing is reaction videos or compilation videos, you are always going to be playing this fair use roulette. And sometimes you're going to lose, even if you think it's reasonable. If you want to be truly clean and not have any issues, make sure that you're creating all of your own content, or you get content that is properly licensed by a third party. That means you use true royalty-free music, true royalty-free clips, images. If there's people who show up in your video, you have the right for them to be in there. Number 6, you need to use ad disclosures. This means if you have any type of sponsored content in your videos, if you're doing an integration, if you got free product, if there's any type of financial relationship between you and what you're talking about, you need to disclose that to your audience. Not only because you want to be transparent and fair and you want them to trust you, but also the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, says you have to. So ad, sponsored, or using other natural language equivalent, those are the magic words we want to be using. Number 7, use contracts. Make sure you get stuff in writing. If you're doing a brand deal, use a contract to make sure that if a brand stiffs you on their payment, you can actually get them to pay you, and there should be a late fee for the bother. If anyone works on your videos and is editing for you, make sure you're using a contract, because technically if they edit that video belongs to them, not to you, even if you paid them. Make sure anyone who's identifiable on your videos, again, make sure you're using a model release or a media release. And this especially goes for anyone who's underage. If there's anywhere else where it's not a huge crowd, the expectation is that you're not allowed to use their name, image, and likeness, their face, without permission. And number 8, make sure your helpers are independent contractors and not employees. Depending on where you live, you might need to do some extra things, but your baseline standard is to make sure that you are using an independent contractor agreement, a 1099 agreement to outline expectations, to make sure there's NDA language in there to protect all your business secrets that they're having access to, and an IP release, meaning all the cool stuff they're creating gets transferred to you and your business pot, so then you can then upload this video onto YouTube, continue monetizing and making money and licensing it. If you are wondering where you can get all these resources and make sure that you are getting yourself as a channel, as a creator protected, head over to Creative Contracts and grab my Creator Legal Bundle. And remember to like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Thanks for being there, and make sure to tune in next time. I'm Brittany Rattel.